there's going to be a mass exodus. Things are going to get worse. Why is that? Rates continue to climb. There's going to be economic chaos. And so part of that is I need to understand, look, here's the time for me to do what? To double down and make sure I'm really, really laser focused on what I'm doing.
Hey, this is Blake Sloan. I've been selling real estate over 14 years, and our team of highly trained professionals, along with our unmatched marketing, has sold thousands of homes here in the Myrtle Beach area, and this is how we do it.
Time right now, right? Most people are paranoid, not sure what to do. Here, everything's done deal for you. We have lead flow coming in still. We have the system to process, the database, 80,000 plus people. So there's massive opportunity in what it is, but here's the thing. The overall piece here has to be climb high, make sure I go myself high, and I want to establish myself for the next 20 or 30 years based on what I do the next 12 to 18 months. I'll say it again. You can establish yourself here in this game, in this business, for the next 20, 30 years based on how you operate the next 12 to 18 months. I've got to raise up now to the top of the mountain. I've got to raise to the top of the mountain above the war that's coming in, above the financial war, the chaos, the people, the desperation, right? Where I got to get myself to that higher ground and get there as fast as possible so that I can do what? I can win and outlast the Exodus, right? Outlast the challenges, because what's going to happen is over time, in a little while, guess what's going to happen?
You're going to start putting down the swords?
Yes. Very, very quickly. It's already happening now, right? The mass exodus has begun, not this year, but across the country. And Gary even talked about that in the call last night with me and a bunch of other people from other areas of the country. We're not as bad as some areas, like Phoenix and certain areas are really seeing big, big time issues, right? A lot of speculation in their market, 100,000 plus agents in their marketplace, right? It's one of those things that it's a big, big deal. And so here, right, the thing you got to realize is it will come back. The market will come back. The question is, will you be leading at the front when it does? The market will come back, but the question is, will you be leading at the front when it does? And what that means is you're going to be the one who does what? Who captures all the rewards at the end. All the gold and the silver that's left over by people who put their swords down, who are no longer fighting for that. The weak people are already getting out, right? The weak people they have no clue what they're doing. Imagine being at your last broker where you had no guidance. Most of these people have no guidance, no leads, no nothing. They're still trying to get some deals off their sphere. And so it's very, very, very important for me to understand, look, I got to make sure I'm climbing high right now, and I'm very, very disciplined about it. And I'm also having to do it with intensity. And so we talked about last night, really kind of on our warrior stuff, there's really a couple things you got to make sure you focus on right now to get through this. I'm going to build on what we talked about with the endurance and expansion thing. Number one, I got to make sure every day I'm very purposeful about finding this word right here. Power. What do you think that means? I need a better car. Power. What does that mean? I've got to find a way to find internal power daily within my body, within who I am, to make sure I can push forward when I don't feel like it. I've got to make sure I push forward the days I don't want to get up, the days I don't want to come in, and I don't just roll in at 9:01. Right? The ones that are going to win this game the most are the ones that are very, very disciplined and purposeful about getting up and making sure they put themselves in power. Why? Because you're going to be facing a headwind that's going to be coming at you with lots of problems. And the ones that put themselves in power are the ones who are going to push through and be less likely to do what? Lay down the swords. And I've got to be able to do that, and that what it does, it helps increase my capacity. My capacity as a salesperson, my capacity as an influencer, my capacity as a real estate agent, and it helps me outlast my business so I can push through, because this is a mental war of what's going to happen. I predict you'll probably see some chaos after today. I'll see certain things happen, and there's going to be more chaos that really get people scared into fear. Your job's to do what? Control the controllables and what you can control. Number one thing you control is how I operate my body, how do I put myself in power. Am I weaponizing it daily? Most people get out and operate by what? Default. If I'm operating by default, I'm going to get smashed in this current marketplace. Why? Because I have to find the power inside me to double down when I don't feel like it. When I'm facing a headwind, when it looks like it's a lot more difficult, and now I got to make $200 or $300 instead of $100. Why? Because the frenzy's not there. And I have to have the mindset to help me push through and say, look, but January, February, rates get back down. Guess what? Buyers are going to jump back in and now have the ability to capture all this no one else is really there to pick up. Now, I mentioned it 2 weeks ago, is you got to outwork and outlast. Very, very important piece there. You guys with me on that? Second piece you got to work on. Change the colors up. Second word here is perspective. Perspective, what do you think that means? Yeah, I've got to work on finding myself to put in a positive perspective every single day. Very purposeful about how I operate perspective in terms of what I see in my business, in me, and overall, I'm making sure I build myself and continue having this word right here. Confidence. That's going to be your secret weapon going forward. Why? Because it's so easy to lose it when I'm facing challenges, deals falling through, more calls, more objections, people aren't with me. Okay, I've got to make sure I'm very, very purposeful about my confidence in going through that so I can make sure I have, hey, look, here's what's going on in terms of what's going on. Perspective is going to be, my clarity here. My clarity. My clarity is in terms of what I'm seeing, what I'm doing going forward. Right? My clarity. Clarity means what? What's really truly going on? What's really truly my numbers? And I have to know, look, what's going on with me inside my business? Third piece here. My plan. What does that mean, you think? This is your roadmap to get through what's going on in the next 60 to 75 days. I got to stick to the plan no matter what. When I don't feel like it, what I got to do? Stick to the plan. If I have a plan, hey, look, I'm making $200 a day or whatever, $1,000 that week. I know, hey, look, I take $1,000 a week, divide that by 5 days, right? I know my number. Hey, look, I'm doing $200 a day no matter what. When I don't feel like it, when I have deals going sideways, crazy clients, issues, challenges, whatever it is, I've got to make sure I'm very clear on my plan. That starts out with my 90-day, goes into my monthly, to my weekly, and then to my daily. Right now, that's why it's very important to take in and say, look, I got to do my 4 keys in one thing every single Monday, preferably Sunday. So I'm very clear on what needs to happen. Why? Because I have to make sure I stick to the plan. There's been more distractions than ever right now that are more likely to pull you off the plan. And I'm going to tell you, this step's going to get a lot of people. Because as chaos comes, as challenges comes, as doubt comes in, and these things come from external circumstances, what happens to the plan most of the time? It goes out the window. And so my plan is what helps me make sure I'm overall in this and help maintain my confidence. Super important. And when things go sideways, what I need to go back to? My basic plan, which is what? Fundamentals. My dials, my follow-ups, my bucket, my communication, my actually making the dials, am I going through it? Very, very, very important piece. And I'm doing what? I'm going back and looking at this every single day. Here's my checklist for the day, right? Am I getting myself into power? Yes or no? Am I making sure I'm maintaining and getting clear on my perspective of what's going on so I have clarity overall in what I'm doing here in that piece? Right? Am I sticking to my plan? And like I said, do I have my plan and even know what my plan is for me in today? I've struggled with this sometimes where if I'm not clear on my plan, guess what I get done? Nothing. I get into reactionary mode. I waste a day and I have guilt and shame about that. And I have anger about that. And I'm not getting what I need to get done over the next 2 or 3 days because I'm not clear on my plan. You have to slow down to speed up right now. Your time matters more than ever because you have to get more production in the same amount of time. Okay? That means dials. More effort, because why is that? There's less buyers, more competition right now. You will see that die down as some people get out the business and there's less competition. We're seeing competition right now. I told some of y'all where Zillow's even running pay-per-click ads against us to try to get lead to sell back to people. It's a first. Right? The number one competitor for a lot of pay-per-click right now is Zillow, which has been unheard of. But their buyer traffic's down. They have less leads to give out. People are cutting their costs. And so what's happening is there's a really tight squeeze right now. And the way to win that's on the fundamentals, make sure you master the basics. You guys with me on this? Super, super important piece here. Fourth piece here, production. Yes. The key part here is my results. Right? You can call this creation or results. First time we talked about it. Yep. After the huddle yesterday, there's only about 2 people talking to people. Right? So I have a choice here. I'm going to come and play real estate. I'm going to come and do real estate. Doing real estate is actually making the dials. This is going to be a time that exposes you where you can't come in and not make dials and not stick to the script. And when you come in, you hear 2 people talk to 5 people and no one else talk to anyone. That clearly is a result here of production. Am I actually producing a result when I'm doing what I'm doing? And I have to be able to hold myself accountable to that where like, hey, look, am I actually having a result from this production piece? Meaning that, am I actually talking to people, get them on the phone? Here's the thing. I doubt the dollars being made, but if you are making the dollars, you're not getting anybody, I have to figure out how to make that change. Because ultimately, all this here doesn't matter if I don't have what? The results. Super, super important. And that results here is number one, or the most important thing I have to look at, understand here going forward is, am I actually talking to people? Not only just am I talking to them, am I doing what? Converting them, moving them to appointments, to virtuals. Am I pushing to that, right? I have to be very, 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 very in tune right now to what's going on. Am I actually getting results in terms of how I'm talking to them? Am I actually making the dials, getting production, getting actual answers, calls, responses, whatever it is? And am I getting face-to-face with people? This business is a face-to-face business. I have to get face-to-face, belly-to-belly. So no matter what I do, I have to push. I need to push right now for virtuals. I need to push right now for face-to-face. And I need to go outside my comfort zone to push harder than I ever have, because I have to make sure I'm getting face-to-face with people and I'm having these overall connections. Super important piece here. Just telling you, this is a roadmap for us to make sure we're going through that. Make sure I'm pushing this piece in what it is. Last piece here of this is super important that comes through all of these is my profit. All that comes through. So here's the deal. I have to make sure I get myself empowered. I have to make sure I'm getting clear my perspective, what's going on, so I have clarity in what I'm doing. I have to make sure I have a plan, I'm sticking to the plan, and I do that when? Daily. Daily. I may not feel like coming in and getting 10 under contract, but I can come and make $200 today. I can make X amount of text messages today. Or I can book 3 buyer appointments this week. Whatever it is, I have to have a plan that's very clear that I know I can eat that elephant one bite at a time. As pressure comes in, people make bad decisions. As fear comes in, people make bad decisions. And that's what I was talking about in getting from a place of scarcity. But if I'm very clear on my plan, it's very easy, or it's much easier for me to maintain outside of scarcity. It allows me to maintain my confidence here when those around me are crumbling to the pressure around them. And this is something that's very key right now to what's going to happen and what's going on. I need you guys to be honest and open with my production. Am I actually getting done? Am I actually getting results here? Or am I just been playing? And if I have been playing, this is your time to make sure you make that adjustment now before it's too late. The water is going out, and those that are playing are going to be exposed. And so it's time for you to make that decision. Hey, look, am I going to move forward and actually get some results? Am I going to just keep on complaining? Because if that's the case, those that keep playing are not going to be here. It's my job as leader to share that, to make sure I can give you the chance to make that change beforehand. There's no more hiding and getting away with it, because the market's going to be exposing that. I can't save you. No one else can save you. You got to make a decision and say, look, I'm going to step up, make sure I'm getting a piece here of my production. The people piece, and make sure I'm keeping track of who I'm meeting with. Are they signing? And more importantly here, what's my conversion look like too? Just because I'm talking to people doesn't mean I'm getting results. That's best measured in face-to-face. How many face-to-face am I getting, and how many am I converting face-to-face when I'm doing so? Which is super valuable, I think. Last piece is the profit, which comes down where I have the ability to have this celebration at the end here. Because those that get through this will make great money. They'll double down, they'll 10x what they're doing, and ultimately they'll make great money through this process and come out the other end a lot better, because they're going to scoop up all the gold at the end. And so I want you guys to have this marathon mindset where, look, I'm going to settle in, I'm going to have the disciplines, I'm going to make sure I'm doing these same things every day. But it starts with power. I notice people, I can watch energy when you come in and tell if they've gone to the gym and done anything, or actually getting up and getting into power. Listen to things, right? Or they just staying up late, watching TV, playing video games, rolling out of bed at 8:30 and getting here at 9:01. I'm just telling you, the time of wartime, you can't get away with that. In a frenzy, it's much easier to do so. You get up going to the gym in the morning, right? Can you roll in and tell people who don't actually get up and get into power when you see them? Easily? Yeah. So can the clients. You can feel it, right? And that's what my point is. If your coworker can feel it, guess who else can feel it? Everybody. They watch the energy. And so what we're in right now is a transfer of energy. In a time of uncertainty, I have to make sure I can find extra certainty to do what? Pour it to my clients. Over the telephone, face-to-face, in writing contracts, and all these things. It matters in a big way right now. More than ever, because there's a massive place of uncertainty. But if I can be their certainty in that place of production and place of business, it really makes a big deal to them overall. And so most of what we're going to see is just the overall water is going to split. Some are going to go this way in terms of doubling down and doing these things. Others are going to stay in their comfort zone and slowly be washed away in exposure. And just kind of, you won't notice it one day, but what you're going to notice in a period of 30 to 45 days, you're going to see there's going to be two different camps. And I share this because I want you to be on the one side with us, which is the winning side. Been through before. We have the capital, we have the systems, the processes, everything needed for it. We've got to make sure we're doubling down on that piece, though. And I want to give you guys the internal tools because you got to make the decision yourself to do it. Okay? Super important. And so capacity comes down to what? My ability to handle. My ability to handle stress, my ability to handle the people, my ability to handle the problems, the objections, the challenges. And do I handle that with grace and keep on going so I can do what? Get more money out of the money machine. Capacity is how long can I stay in the money machine and stuff my pockets when my brain is wanting to be in overload and I'm stressed out. And I'm looking for the escape. And so having myself a way to get empowered daily and getting up early and doing things to make sure that I'm in control of my bedtime, I'm in control of my wake-up time, I'm in control of making sure I do something to get myself in power every single day so I can come to war and make sure I have capacity. I'm doing the most important thing right now, which is expanding my capacity. Talk about this a million times. The fastest way to do that is through your body. Why is that? It takes discipline.